Black Sabbath Volume 4, A Spiritual Descent and Rise Through the Sound and Shadow. By the time Volume 4 dropped in 1972, Black Sabbath had already established themselves as architects of darkness, but with this album, something deeper emerged. Beneath the sludge and shadow lies a cracked open vulnerability, a yearning for peace, freedom, and meaning in a world where none of that seems guaranteed. Hi friends, I'm Scott, and I welcome you to be one with me as we journey together to be the best we can. I make videos and content that center on expanding consciousness and finding a spiritual solution to life's ups and downs, so, mind, body, and spirit. With Volume 4, Black Sabbath fully embraced the paradox they had always played with, the merging of holy and heavy, the sacred and the suffering, the divine trapped inside the body's breakdown. This album isn't just a product of excesses and experimentation. It's a spiritual experience disguised in fuzz, distortion, and fragile human voices. It takes the listener on a ride, not unlike the human soul journey, down through the dark, through the confusion and isolation, and back toward a flicker of light. Each track serves as both a confession and a reflection, not just for the band, but for us. As you move through these songs, yourself, ask yourself, not only what they meant to the band, but what they stir in you. Where are you holding grief? Where are you resisting growth, and where is your spirit asking to be seen? Wheels of Confusion opens the album like a meditation gone wrong. The rhythm is shifty, almost stumbling, and Ozzy's voice sounds like it's crying from another dimension. Long ago I wandered through my mind, he sings, evoking the painful clarity that can come when the fog finally lifts. The wheels turning might be fate, karma, or just the endless pattern of human suffering. Either way, the confusion is not just mental, it's spiritual. Are you lost in your own wheels? Are we still wandering through our past trying to make sense of what happened, or are we willing to slow the spin and step into stillness? The song is a haunting reminder that the noise in our heads can be louder than any amp and just as distorted. Tomorrow's dream brings us into the aching desire to start over. I'm leaving the past behind. I'm moving out to find a new tomorrow. That lyric might seem simple, but in context, it's a cry for spiritual freedom. So many of us carry around in our stories, in our traumas, regrets, and failures, and we wear them like armor, But Sabbath isn't. But Sabbath is saying here that the real freedom begins when we choose to lay them down and move forward, not in denial, but in truth. Where in your life do you need a new dream? What part of your past are you still dragging behind you? And is it time to let it go? Changes breaks the album wide open with raw vulnerability. No distortion, no walls, just piano, voice, and pain. I feel unhappy, I feel so sad. I lost the best friend I ever had. It's Sabbath at their most emotionally exposed, and it's deeply spiritual in its honesty too. Too often we try to bypass grief or pretend it's not spiritual to cry or collapse, but this song reminds us that breakdown is sacred. The soul grows in the space between what was and what's next. Have we allowed ourselves to feel our changes, or are we numbing them? Can we sit with our own losses without trying to fix them? FX is more of an interlude than a song, but spiritually it feels like entering the void. Metallic echoes, they bounce around the space, and like thoughts in a discontented mind. There's no rhythm, no grounding. It's just fragments. And life can feel like this, especially in times of spiritual disconnection. Are you able to sit in the in-between, or do you rush to fill the silence with noise and distraction? Sometimes it's the chaos that the divine finally whispers through. Want to reach out and touch the sky? Supernaut explodes out of the fog like a soul finally waking up to its power. The divine, is this driving riff, pure energy, and lyrics that hint at deep metaphysical truth. I've seen the future, and I've left it behind. There's something holy in that. The idea that freedom doesn't lie in knowing the future, but in letting go of the need to control it. There's a spiritual high here, not unlike ego death, stepping into presence with power and asking, how often are you stuck trying to predict or control outcomes, and less riding, instead of riding the wave of the moment? What would happen if we surrendered not in defeat, but in mastery? And this one I had to really dig deep, because Snowblind is often interpreted as a cocaine anthem. And sure, the word cocaine whispers through the mix like a ghost, but beyond the surface, it's a desperate song about longing, escape, and the search for transcendence. My eyes are blind, but I can see. The snowflakes glisten on the tree. That paradox of being blind but seeing is the essence of spiritual awakening. It's about seeing beyond what's visible, even when reality is painful. There's also deep caution here. What are your snow blinds? What are you using to numb the pain instead of transform it? What artificial highs are keeping us from real peace? Cornucopia is dense, dark, and cynical, but also deeply questioning too much, nearly everything. Ozzy mutters as if choking on overindulgence. There's a spiritual truth hiding here that abundance without meaning becomes poison, that the soul can be starved even when the body is full. It asks us to examine what we're consuming, and not just food or drugs, but information, media, relationships, even attention. Are we feeding our soul or just our ego? What's really nourishing us? Laguna Sunrise is a surprise, a soft, cinematic instrumental that feels like coming up for air after drowning in distortion. It's light pouring through stained glass after a storm. It reminds us that no matter how deep the darkness, beauty is always nearby. This track speaks to the soul's need for stillness and awe. What simple beauties are you ignoring while caught, in your chaos? When was the last time you let yourself watch a sunrise, not through a phone, but with your heart? St. Vitus' dance, returns to biting, sarcastic energy, but underneath it's a message about false appearances and emotional truth. You look so fine, but you're far from kind. This spiritual question here is one of alignment. Are your words, actions, and energy in sync? Are you living as your true self, or playing a part to protect something? This song is less about judgment and more about seeing clearly. Can we be honest with what we see in others, and more importantly, in ourselves? Under the Sun closes the album like a sermon in denim. I want to live my life. I don't want people telling me what to do. It's a song of rebellion, but it's also liberation, a call to stop waiting for external salvation and Start claiming your own truth. This song is spiritual fire. It's a reflection of false selves, fake systems, and hollow gods. Just believe in yourself. You know you really shouldn't have to pretend. Love that line. Where are you still outsourcing your power? Where are we waiting for permission to be whole? Yeah. In the end, Volume 4 is less of an album and more of a pilgrimage through chaos, heartbreak, addiction, and silence. Sabbath lays out a map of what it means to fall apart and find the thread of spirit woven through it all. It's not preachy, and it doesn't pretend to have answers, but it asks all the right questions. Yeah. What are you holding that you need to release? What illusions are we still clinging to? Can we let ourselves feel the loss, the joy, the confusion of it all, and come out the other side more real, more whole, and more awake? Subscribe to this channel, like and share this video, and let me know in the comments. Let me know in the comments about how you see the lessons, inspirations, or spiritual guidance in Black Sabbath Volume 4. Visit beonewithme.com. More is coming from the heart for the soul. Check out one of these videos, and remember, a smile can make someone's day, and the right words may change their life. I love you. Be you. Be one with me.